What's up? This is Aaron, and as you can probably tell, I'm not in the good mood that I was in yesterday. Today was my second day at my new job, and I was let go for being transgender. I live in the state of Florida where it's perfectly legal to do that. There's nothing I can do to fight it, and I feel like less than human. I feel completely humiliated. Yesterday, on my first day, I was very upfront with them. I told them the situation. I told them that I'm trans, that I identify as male. I told them my preferred name, preferred pronouns. My supervisor was completely fine with it. If you saw my video yesterday, you saw how stoked I was that they were so accepting. My coworkers were, the only 2 coworkers I've dealt with so far were extremely accepting. But apparently the person who works in HR, who I never had the opportunity to meet, it was requested of me at about 9 o'clock this morning that I not use the correct bathroom because I might make people uncomfortable. HR didn't even speak to me about this. My supervisor didn't speak to me about this. I was contacted by the staffing agency I was hired through, and they informed me that I would be required to use the women's bathroom, even though I'm male. I asked them to find out if there was a unisex or handicapped bathroom that I could use. I asked the person from the staffing agency to find out for me so that I didn't have to make a big deal and go to HR or go to my supervisor and make waves. He told me he would get back to me. About halfway through the day, I found out that there are no unisex bathrooms. To which I said, well, if that's the way it is, this is what I have to do, then so be it. I completely swallowed any amount of dignity or self-respect that I had. I took my entire hour lunch break to drive to the nearest location with a public bathroom. And the one other time during the day that I needed it, I used the wrong bathroom. I dealt with the looks, the stares, the obvious discomfort from the women in the bathroom at the same time that I was. I ignored it. I went back to my desk. I learned the job in 2 days. By 5 o'clock today, they told me what a great fit I was, set me up my own desk and computer, and told me I'd be on my own tomorrow. At about 5:10, after leaving work, I got a phone call from the staffing agency again telling me that I had been let go because all of a sudden I was not a good fit. They said it had to do with the bathroom issue after I had already told the person from my staffing agency that there was no issue and I would do what was asked of me. After much dancing around that subject, they finally said, well, we didn't interview Aaron, we interviewed birth name. So it seems you're not who you say that you are. So I said, let me ask something. If I had told you that my preferred name was a shortened version of my first name or my middle name, would they have told me that that's not who they interviewed? He kept trying to say, no, it's not because of your gender identity. I said, but if it had been a female name that I asked to be called, I would not be fired right now. And he finally just said, sorry, but, you being the way you are, makes them feel that you're not a good fit for the company and you're not welcome back. There's absolutely nothing I can do to fight it, because I live in a state that does not grant me any rights or any protection in the workplace. They're completely within their legal right to tell me that I've been let go because I'm transgender. I truly can't understand why not being born with a dick makes me suddenly unqualified to answer phones and type up reports. They told me that because I have a different preferred name, I'm not the person that they interviewed. I was under the impression they interviewed me based on my skills, my experience, and my qualifications. I was perfectly capable of doing the job, enough so that after 2 days they decided I had had enough training. At exactly 5 o'clock p.m., they set me up my own workspace and said they'd see me tomorrow. And at exactly 5:42 p.m., I was told that the HR representative had decided that I was no longer a good fit. I feel completely disrespected. I feel like they've spit in my face. My skills, my talents, my experience mean nothing because I was born in a body that does not match my gender. When the government takes away the rights of a group of people, it's not a nameless, faceless group. It's not an abstract idea. Sexual orientation recently became a federally protected class in the workplace under the Non-Discrimination Act. And while that's great, and while that's a great step forward, when you say that that's good enough, it's not this unknown concept that you're taking rights away from. It's real people with real names and real faces and families that suffer in ways you can never imagine. My talents mean nothing because what's in my pants doesn't match what you see. And this was supposed to be an LGBT-friendly organization. Would they have asked the openly gay supervisor that I met briefly, would they have asked him to drop his drawers and prove that he's in the right bathroom? If my preferred name had been my middle name or a shortened version of my birth name or something else traditionally female, would that have made them say that I'm not the person they interviewed? How does that change my qualifications for a job? It doesn't. The name of the company is HIT Promotions. That's HIT Promotions. They're a big company. They've got clients as big as, for example, Coca-Cola, Geico Insurance, McDonald's, Target. This is not some small family-owned business. When you deny people basic human rights, such as the ability to work for a fair living, provide for their families, it's never good enough. Because there are real human beings who suffer in very real ways. I want it to be known that this company feels entirely justified in terminating an employee based solely on the fact of their gender identity. I'm not the type to like to ask for help, but I need to pay my bills. I need to continue to survive. because the opportunity to work for a fair living and provide for myself has been taken away from me. Not because I'm incompetent, not because of my personality or the way I conduct myself professionally, but simply because of my gender. I recently started selling t-shirts to help me, t-shirts and other merchandise to help me raise money for my transition. That money instead will be going toward my basic bills and living expenses. I'll leave a link below the video. I ask that you just check it out. If you can support in any way, it would mean the world to me. If you can pass the word along about this company, about the injustices in our social justice system, it would mean even more. If anyone knows of any organization I can contact for help, I'm open to suggestion. Feel free to message me, email me. But legally, by the laws of the state of Florida, there is nothing that I can do. I feel like I'm not worthy as a person. I'm not worth what the cisgender or non-trans employees on either side of me are worth. Regardless of my talents, my experience, I feel spat on and stepped on and ridiculed and humiliated. It should come as no surprise whatsoever that half of transgender people attempt or commit suicide because we live in a world that tells me that I do not have the same worth as a human being as someone born in a body that matches their gender. This is something that is completely and entirely out of my control. I didn't choose this life, but I chose to be the best person that I can be, to be the best worker that I can be, and it means nothing.